Hello and welcome back to World 360. Much has happened over this Diwali weekend. India won the match against Pakistan in the T20 World Cup. Rishi Sunak became the UK Prime Minister. A former Chinese president was mysteriously escorted out of the party congress, and WhatsApp had its longest ever outage. But these aren't the reasons why you've clicked on this series, of course. Today's lineup, which you probably didn't see in your daily news feed, includes European countries building steel walls on their borders. Iranian-made kamikaze drones are now popularized during the ongoing Ukraine war. And 3, why big tech isn't happy with how misinformation is being tackled in Brazil's presidential runoff election. Now, on the suggestion of a viewer from Finland, Kirke Panen, our first topic for today is about border walls, a concept you may recall former US President Donald Trump popularized when he vowed to build a wall between the US and Mexico. Like Trump's wall, Poland, Lithuania, and now Finland have either built or are in the midst of building a wall to keep out illegal refugees. Now, why are we seeing this now? Last winter, you may recall images of thousands of refugees, mostly from the Middle East, who were stuck at the border between Poland and Belarus, camping out in frigid conditions. Belarusian strongman leader Alexander Lukashenko was accused of weaponizing migrants against the European Union in retaliation for sanctions that the bloc had imposed on him after he claimed victory in a disputed election in 2020. In response, Poland started building a $400 million, 5-meter tall steel wall on its border with Belarus in January this year, which was completed in June, and now it's fortified with barbed wire, motion detectors, and CCTV cameras. In August this year, Lithuania finished building its border fence with Belarus too. Now, Finland plans to start building a wall along its border with Russia to prevent a similar migrant crisis. Now, immigration aside, let's ask, who's funding these walls? In October 2021, 12 EU countries submitted a proposal to the European Commission to fund a wall at the border between Poland and Belarus in light of the migrant crisis at the time. These 12 countries included Lithuania, Latvia, Poland, Austria, Bulgaria, Greece, Cyprus, Denmark, Estonia, the Czech Republic, the Slovak Republic, and Hungary. But not everyone was on board, like France. The EU continues to be split over the issue of border fence funding, especially because in 2017, Hungary had asked Brussels to pay for half of the costs of an anti-migrant fence. And at the time, the EU was quick to dismiss the proposal. But with the new crisis vis-a-vis Belarus, we're seeing people like European Council President Charles Michel saying financing is legally possible. Hungary will certainly be feeling a certain level of vindication, but for many in Brussels, the situation with Belarus is different compared to Hungary, a report aptly summed up. But EU chief Ursula von der Leyen has flat out refused to fund such a border, in keeping with the bloc's tenet that it does not provide financial assistance for the construction of barriers or fences. Then again, the EU has had no problem asking African countries to keep migrants out of Europe. In fact, Morocco has received 500 million euros as part of a project to stem migrant crossings into Europe from the period 2021 up till 2027. This budget was almost 50% more than the previous budget the EU had allocated to Morocco. Our second topic for today is about dirty election tricks, big tech, and the larger question of just how wide can a judiciary broaden its powers. For this, we're turning to Brazil, which goes to a runoff presidential election on 30th October. Now, this election has been marked by a bitter political contest between incumbent Jair Bolsonaro and his rival, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Both sides have hurled bizarre accusations against one another, right down to allegations of Satanism, cannibalism, and even pedophilia. An analysis by the Brazilian Report shows a spike in the number of online articles published about Bolsonaro and the Freemasons, and similarly Da Silva and the devil. They provide hourly statistics of such misinformation, which seems to peak from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., and with the Bolsonaro Freemasons theory the most popular. Now, the unprecedented spike forced Brazilian authorities to give one man the power over online speech, a move that is sure to irk big tech. This man is Alexander de Moraes. a Supreme Court justice who leads the country's electoral court and can now order tech companies to remove any online posts or videos. Social networks could face fines of up to $19,000 per hour if they fail to take down quote-unquote fraudulent content after 2 hours, or worse, they could even see their services suspended. Alexander de Moraes hasn't been afraid to get firm on tech firms in the past. In fact, in March this year, he ordered the suspension of Telegram for not complying with certain rules. Bolsonaro isn't the biggest fan of him either. In fact, in the past, de Moraes has ordered investigations into Bolsonaro and jailed some of his supporters as well. And last year, Bolsonaro even tried to get him removed from office. Now, while misinformation in Brazil is getting out of hand amid the election frenzy, putting all this power into one man has invited criticisms against the legitimacy of Brazil's judiciary as a whole, and it has been accused of trying to expand its powers and intervene in politics. The judicial system has been politicized in a way that has compromised its legitimacy, Felipe Campante, a professor at Johns Hopkins University, told Financial Times recently. The issue is sure to persist no matter who wins Brazil's runoff. It sets a sort of precedent for censorship and tackling of misinformation in Brazil, while also entangling the country's judiciary along with it. Our last topic of the day comes by the suggestion of Amit Kumar, who left a comment on the last episode. But before we get into it, I want to remind you of the war between two former Soviet republics in 2020. I'm talking about Armenia and Azerbaijan, which went to war in November 2020 over a territorial dispute. And military experts across the globe noted how drones played a critical role in Azerbaijan's victory, specifically Israeli and Turkish-made drones. Israel's Harop, Orbiter and other such drones, some of which acted as warheads that slam into a target like a missile, was seen to be a game changer for Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan even put the drones on a pedestal in its parades after its victory, and there were even calls to make monuments of the drones, according to a report in the Jerusalem Post. Even Turkey's Bayraktar TB2 UAVs, which it had used in operations in Syria and Libya, helped Azerbaijan. We're seeing the same popularity of drones with the Ukraine war, but specifically with Iranian drones being supplied to Russia. Iran's Shahid 136 drones has a range of about 2,500 km and can carry warheads weighing between 5 to 30 kilograms. Now, such drones are known as kamikaze drones because they come from the Japanese word kamikaze, coined during World War II, when Japanese aircraft loaded with explosives would make deliberate suicidal crashes on enemy targets. Similarly, these Iranian drones loiter around until they find their target and are subsequently destroyed in an attack. Last week, when Russia bombed Kiev in retaliation for the Crimea bridge blast, it was rumored that these Iranian drones were the secret weapon. The Kremlin, however, has denied this. But since then, an Iranian military official has revealed that 22 countries have submitted formal requests to purchase such Iranian drones, suggesting their increasing popularity in the global market. Now, these remarks were made by Major General Yahya Rahim Safavi, a military advisor to the leader of the Islamic Revolution, who boasted that this is a sign of how Iran went from a country that imported 80% of its defense equipment to now a country that makes indigenously 80% of its defense equipment. According to reports, the countries wanting to purchase these Iranian drones include Venezuela, Tajikistan, Serbia, and none other than Armenia, the country that lost the 2020 war against Azerbaijan. Thank you so much for watching. Please keep writing in with your suggestions. This is Pia Krishnankutty for The Print. Do subscribe to The Print and follow us on social media.